welcome to week 6 of Artists in Nature and Nature Journaling with Kayla. I'm Kayla and I'm a naturalist with Dunes Learning Center. This week's theme is called Moonlight Mysteries, and it's all about using storytelling to understand the mysteries of nocturnal animals. Nocturnal animals search for food in the cover of darkness. Some hunt as herbivores, and some hunt as carnivores, and some hunt as both, omnivores. We know these things happen, but we can't physically see them take place because our eyesight doesn't allow us to do so. So the mystery is, how do these interactions take place? We can use scientific tools to answer these questions, but another way that we can make sense of what we can't see is through storytelling. Just like in a mystery novel, we have the evidence and clues, but the detective's job is to uncover what the story was. We can do that for nighttime nocturnal animals too. For this activity in your journal, you're going to create a story about a nocturnal animal searching for food and the things that it might encounter along the way. But first, we need to know what makes a story so that we have all the pieces of the puzzle in place. Stories consist of 5 basic parts: an exposition, a rising action segment, climax, falling action, and the resolution. The exposition is the beginning of the story where the scene is set. You learn about the main character, the character is defined, and we learn what the setting is. Next is the rising action. This is where the character experiences something and encounters conflict. There's some problems that come up, trouble arises. Then there's the climax, which is the key moment for the character. It's the big event. This is where they find what they're looking for, or if their needs are finally met. Then you encounter the falling action, which is the series of events that lead to the resolution, which is the end of the story. So, for our story about these nocturnal animals, we're going to be telling a story about them finding food. They avoid detection, right? Being found, they use stealth, they have to avoid daytime predators. So all of these things we're going to include in this story. So, using your journal, I want you to make some notes for yourself about some of the things you might want to include. And yeah, grab a pencil and put on your thinking cap and we'll see what we can come up with. So the first thing that you're going to do is pick a nocturnal animal. This can include raccoons, possums, it can be a skunk, it can be mice, and I'd love it if you would sketch it in your journal. That way you have an idea of what your character looks like as you're envisioning the story. So in mine, I have Peter the opossum. I sketched him and I think he's pretty cute. Then you're going to set the scene, which is your exposition. So you're going to think, where does this animal live? Do they have a family? What food are they specifically looking for? Does this animal have special skills for being out at night? Do they have particular adaptations that allow them to be successful? Does this animal also need to be looking out for something like a predator or some other kind of problem that could arise? So then that will lay the framework for your rising action, which is the next part of your story, where you begin the search for food, but you then run into that trouble. So what is it? Is the food hard to find? Is there a predator nearby? Is the journey long or short? Those things will be incorporated into your rising action. Then in the story, you'll hit the climax, which is where we find food. Yay! But what happens? Are we running too close to dawn and the risk of daylight where more predators might come out? Or did a predator actually find us? Then we get to our falling action part of the story where we make it back home. What does that part of the journey look like? And then the resolution, the end, we make it back and we enjoy our food. Or we burrow again and hide until daylight comes again. Or until nighttime comes again. Using this framework, what story can you create about nocturnal animals? If you're running stuck with ideas, you can create a comic strip or some illustrations for the story that I'll share with you that I did. Alright, so I'm going to share my story. Okay, this is about Peter the opossum and his nightly quest. Alright, my name is Peter the opossum. I live with my family in a tiny underground burrow within the forest. It's very cozy, and we like to sleep there during daytime so we can go hunting for food at night in the cover of darkness. We're not very picky with what we eat. We really like to scavenge for things that might be dead, but we'll also eat things like insects, frogs, and plants. In a few minutes, it will be dark enough for us to leave and begin our search for food. It's always fun to leave the burrow, but I also get nervous about it too. We have to watch out for the foxes and the owls, who are also looking for food at night. Mom says that we're well prepared though to go hunting at night. Thank goodness for our noses, she says, that help us find scents extremely well, and our ability to play dead and stink really bad so predators go away. Mom says it's time to go now. As I crawl out of the burrow, I see the night sky peeking through the tall branches of the forest trees. The stars are really bright tonight. My nose immediately picks up the scent of a frog nearby. That sounds good to me, so I decide to follow the trail of the smell. It will probably take me to the small creek bed in the middle of the forest, which is a little ways away, but I know I will have plenty of time to get there and back before the sun comes up. As I'm walking, I realize I'm alone. I lost my family. Oh no! I could turn around and try to find them, but I also know that I have to find food too. They probably picked up on other scents and went the opposite direction. I know I need to find food by sunrise, so I have to go to the creek bed, find something to eat, and head back. After a long journey, I've finally made it to the creek bed. I can't celebrate yet though because I haven't found the food yet, and the moonlight is shining its brightest, so it won't be easy to stay out of sight from owls or foxes that might be near. I can do this. I crawl into the open as I catch a whiff of the frog I'm on the hunt for. The wind starts to gust in different directions, and suddenly I'm having a hard time locating the direction I need to follow. How did this get so hard? I need to find a frog fast and get out of here. The creek bed is a couple feet away, and I can make out the shape of the frog sitting on a rock beside the water. I crawl a little bit further, as sneaky as I can be, and I grab it. I got it! I got the frog! I don't smell any other frogs nearby that I can catch, so I snack on some plants on my way back. But wait, I'm smelling something else. Oh no! There's a fox coming! This isn't good. Why can't these trips be easier? I know what I've got to do. I've got to play dead. I collapse on the forest floor and my body does its thing. I go unconscious, the bad smell gets released, and I look like something else got to me before the fox did. I can't sense anything being unconscious, but I know the fox walked over, caught some of the terrible odor, and ran away. After a little while, I'm back to normal. I make sure I can't smell anything else that might be scary, and then I start to head home. My problem now is that I only have a few hours until daylight, when other predators like hawks will be out. I've got to make this the fastest trip home ever. I can feel that I'm getting close as the faintest light in the sky starts to appear at the horizon. Wait, what am I smelling now? Please don't be a hawk or another fox. Oh, it's my family. They're here and they're back too. Thank goodness it's them. I can't wait to share my adventure with them. Hopefully next time I won't lose them. The end. Okay, so that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. I had fun writing it. But if you're having trouble, you can find the framework and my journal page online that I use to kind of sketch out the story and figure out what I wanted to write about. Alright, so after you come up with your story about a nocturnal animal and their search for food at night, I want you to think about a couple questions. Did you learn anything new about the animal you chose? I learned a lot about possums writing this story. I didn't know that they loved living in burrows, and I didn't really know a lot about their ability to play dead. So those were some things I learned and thought were very interesting. And then I also want you to think about this question: what are some disadvantages of nocturnal animals? We often think about them being very advantageous, being able to search for food in the cover of darkness and having that ability to hunt while there aren't daytime predators around, but nighttime animals also experience some problems too that are different than the daylight animals. Alright, so that's it. I hope you enjoy this activity. For the full activity page though, please visit duneslearningcenter.org/artisan-nature. That's all for today, and I hope you'll join me next week. Bye!